For today's material, you will need a piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser, maybe a sharpener, and some colored pencils, a marker, and am I leaving anything out? Tape to tape down your paper, and that should be it. So the first thing we're gonna do for today is sketch the outline of our roses. Now, for this process, how I'm doing this is I start with a smaller circle in the middle, and then I draw two kind of like half spaghetti lines around the circle. Basically keeping the like three parts of the flower separate initially, and then connecting petals around that. That just gives the effect that it's like really condensed in the middle of your flower. And yeah, I think it looks really nice. It makes it look more like a rose and less like you're drawing like a mum or something. But yeah, this is how I draw my roses. There are much more technical ways that you could totally do this. This is just how I have chosen to draw my roses. And for this purpose, they turn out so pretty. I really mix and match how big my roses were. Some of them were quite large, some of them were smaller, some of them seemed to be facing towards the left or the right. I tried to mix it up because I didn't want them to be like super cookie cutter roses. So I mixed and matched mine. You totally can like make this more organized, or you could do like less of these flowers or more of these flowers. It really depends on what you want. I am leaving these gaps in between the roses because later on I'm gonna add some like leaf foliage in between those, and it's gonna fill it out really nicely. First and foremost, sorry this is crooked, I messed up my camera. But moving on from that, we are now on the coloring phase of our flower creation. So I am using colored pencils today. I honestly debated using watercolor. I think you could do both. You could do like a lot of different mediums. This is like a fun collage that as long as you have something bright and colorful, you can totally use it. I decided to do mine in a rainbow, so I started with a light peachy color, and then I picked a pink that was close enough to it but slightly darker than my peach color. And on the insides of the roses, I'm using those darker colors that I choose to fill it in the middle, just to kind of give it some depth, as like that is the conglomerate of all of our petals that are happening inside of that rose. I did debate whether I should have used my marker, my ink, before I put down the colored pencil. I decided to do the colored pencil first though, because I don't know, I wanted to mix the colors before I actually committed to the ink part. I was kind of going back and forth on if I wanted to add marker or not. Ultimately, I did end up using marker. But for me, it was a lot harder because I didn't have that initial outline. Later on, I couldn't really erase my pencil marks. So if that's going to annoy you, definitely use marker first and then put in your colored pencils so that you don't have like all those awkward pencil lines. And then lastly, I just used a light green to fill in that background color. Like I said, I'm gonna add some leaves and stuff back here. So if you did not leave space for like a background on your roses, that's totally fine. This is your own creation. But that's just what I'm gonna do. So that's why I left those blanks in there. So here I am outlining the flowers with a black fine tip marker. I believe this is the Bic Intensities marker. And like I said, I mean, there's nothing wrong with coloring first and then going to outline. It's just that I couldn't go back and like if I saw a pencil mark, I can't erase it. So it's just whatever you want to do. If you don't even want to outline it in marker, you don't have to. So this is completely optional. I just like the way that it looks. I also decided to fill in the very pits of my roses with black just to give them a little bit more depth because we did use that darker color, but I just like having like a concrete center to my roses. That is completely optional though. You don't have to do that. And then I do use a pencil to go in and stencil in some of those leaves. I'm kind of going for like a viney, like bushy leaf situation. I do add in a few bigger leaves here and there, but mostly I'm using these like smaller viney types of foliage. You can totally put in whatever you want. Like if you want bigger leaves, if you want sharper rose leaves, they're kind of like jagged and stuff. I just didn't do that, but you totally could. So I did initially outline those leaves in a black marker. It's a fine tip marker. And then I go back with my box of colors and I pick out a light green and a dark green and I just start filling in where I have put those outlines. I used the darker green color to give some depth to these leaves. So on the bigger ones, I put it in the middle. And on the smaller ones, I kind of like outlined that bottom side to it. I just think it looked nice. Overall, I was really happy with how this came out. I love the colors because rainbow is my favorite color. And I just really liked how the leaves and the flowers all just, I don't know, collage together beautifully. So I really liked it. I really enjoyed this. I think it looks pretty, and it like legitimately looks like it could be a card that I would totally give like someone like my best friend or a family member and write lovely things on it. So perhaps future things. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here with me through this chaotic video, and I hope that you guys get to create this lovely rose collage as well. If you do and you post it on Instagram or Pinterest or YouTube, feel free to tag me at Clefairy Creations, and I will see you all next Friday for a new video. Happy creating, everyone.